What is up, everybody? And Jay Nell here with my prediction for possibly one of the most anticipated fights in the last 10 years, especially if you're a fan of grandiose entertainment and cross-country spectacle promotional tours and just simply fantasy fights. And what if a champion MMA fighter gets into a boxing ring with a champion boxer? I am talking about Floyd Money Mayweather versus the notorious one, Mr. Conor McGregor. It's happening this Saturday. Here we go. I myself got to eat a little crow. I said this would not happen. I was wrong. And I'm glad to see it happen, quite frankly, because I am a fan of drama, of entertainment, of the spectacle. And I have enjoyed the spectacle surrounding this fight up to this point. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with their entrances. I hope they milk it. I hope Floyd comes out with 52 people, 8 models, rappers, clowns, juggalos, the whole and a Harley Davidson, Barack Obama. I hope he comes out with it all. I hope Conor comes out with, bring out Sinead O'Connor again, and every other Irish person, bring some Scottish people, bring a monster truck with Floyd's head in the front, in a mouth with blood hanging off of it. Bring some surfers, some divers, some gymnasts, whatever. I just hope that they both truly milk these entrances. I'm really looking forward to that. So I think they might be more entertaining than the fight, quite frankly. So let's talk about the fight. Let's talk about Mr. Conor McGregor. He's an amateur boxing champion, European boxing champion. Of course, he's been an MMA fighter, hasn't done that since. He's a two-time, two-division MMA champion, featherweight, lightweight, held them at the same time. Boom. But this is not a contest of what's better, MMA or boxing, because they are competing in a boxing match under boxing rules. So Conor McGregor, I think the few advantages he may have here, because he's not a boxer, let's just go ahead and say that. So I think the fact that he's a southpaw, Floyd's had some trouble with the southpaw. He does have one punch knockout power. He does have a very unique movement. I think that's kind of the big ding. Melt that unique MMA movement with just simply having unique movement, period, and try to show some looks to Floyd that he's never seen before. Maybe we'll see about that. A lot of his combinations and punches are set up behind kicks. He won't be able to do that. He has this darting in and out chaotic motion that he has in MMA fights. We'll see if he'll be able to utilize that in a boxing ring. I'm not sure, but again, he's bigger. He won't have quicker hand speed, but he does have decent hand speed. And just simply, there's no footage on him as a boxer. We don't know where he's at as a pure boxer. So the intangibles, that question mark. Floyd Money Mayweather. Okay, he will be quicker than Conor McGregor in every way possible. He will have quicker footwork. He will have quicker body movement. It may be different. It may not be as unique, but it will be simply faster. He will cover distance faster, and he will definitely have quicker hand speed. I believe that he'll have a straight jab that Conor may not even see. He will have much quicker hand speed. Mind you, that's been one of his number one weapons his entire career. So, shot selection. He's a boxer. He's not just a boxer. He's arguably one of the greatest of his time, of all time. He has much wider shot selection, much wider selection in his movement, in his defense, and the way he decides to defend himself, the reads that he sees, because this is just simply what he does. Okay, so physically he is smaller, but again, I think his speed will make up for that. Both of their power comes from their technique, but Floyd's power also comes from his speed. Again, I don't know why everybody's like, Conor's gonna hit so much harder. He's not gonna hit him harder than anything Floyd's actually felt before. Mind you, Floyd has always fought a bigger man, and if you think that Conor hits harder than Canelo Alvarez, you don't want to know. You're being willfully ignorant there. So he will not hit him harder than anything Floyd's ever felt. However, Floyd's jab and Floyd's body shots will be the hardest jabs and body shots that Conor has ever felt in his life. Okay? Because this one thing is true, and it's just logical, people. Boxers hit harder than MMA strikers. Why? Because that's all they do. The average boxer has thrown over 1 million more punches than the average MMA striker. They spend about 20% of their time on actual boxing. On striking alone, they have to concentrate on the 8 limbs with the punches and the elbows and the knees and the feet. So they can't simply focus on pure boxing. So guys and gals, boxers hit harder than MMA fighters, okay? So this is not going to be anything new for Floyd, but it will be for Conor. okay? Now, I think the main advantage for Conor McGregor will be the mental warfare. He is an expert. He has perfected winning the fight before he even steps into the ring or the octagon. Most of his opponents, except for Nate Diaz, of course, he beat them before he even laced up his gloves, okay? So here, has he got to Floyd? I'm not sure. Maybe. Sometimes it seems like he has, sometimes it seems like he hasn't. His best bet is to get Floyd to fight out of character. That's his only shot. To get him angry, to get him overconfident, feeling cocky, to get him to take him lightly, which might be happening, I don't know, but that's his best bet. He wins this fight if he can get Floyd to fight out of character. Real quick, I think Floyd's best weapons, his defense. Let's just break this down. We know that defensively, he arguably is the best fighter of his generation and of all time. If we're talking about just pure defense, with the shoulder roll, the way punches slide off and off that shoulder, the way he turns sideways and locks down to where the target is so small you can barely see a target. You can barely see a target. Most of the punches he avoids comes from his footwork, simply getting out of the way. Some of y'all call it running. Some of us who know better call it footwork. So again, the defense. We're all talking about the knockout from Conor. He has to hit him, and he has to hit him clean in order to knock him out. A lot easier said than done. So that defense. Also, listen to how Andre Berto breaks this down. He brings up the fact that Floyd is basically a computer, always receiving and processing data throughout the entire fight. His cardio, your cardio, the way you're moving, the way you're reacting, the way he's moving, the way he's reacting, what time it is, where they are in the octagon, where they are in the round, the momentum, the way it's swinging. He said he basically, in between rounds, looking at you to see if you're tired, looking at you looking at him to see if you're reacting to the fact that he's looking at you to see if you're tired. He is a computer, always gathering and processing data, and that he uses it to his will. The fact that he's going to be doing this in his element, and Conor will be a fish out of water, I think is probably one of the greatest disadvantages that Conor's going to have. I think that Floyd's going to simply be able to read him. And as the fight goes on, he will be able to gather that knowledge, process it, and he'll be able to implement his game plan to a victory. The longer this goes for Conor, being in there with that computer. Also, the cardio. Let me break this down for you people. In the longest MMA fight, we're talking 5-round decision. They are in there for a total of 29 minutes. That's with a minute in between rounds. They do not take off that. They're in a heightened state of combat for the entire 29 minutes. What their body's doing, how to measure their cardio, when to turn on the gas, when to pull back, how they're, and everything what their opponents doing as well. In between rounds, how to get adequate rest, to tell their coaches what they need to tell them, to receive the necessary information, to process that, to make changes during the fight. They're in a heightened state of combat, basically equivalent to war for 29 minutes. It is exhausting. The cardio management is key. A 12-round fight in boxing, they're in that heightened state of combat for 47 minutes. In this 10-round fight, it will be 39. If this goes to a decision, if you don't think Conor being in a heightened state of combat for an extra 10 minutes than he's used to won't affect him, you don't want to know. You're being willfully ignorant. That is huge. If this goes past 6, not only do I believe that Floyd will win, I believe he may knock him out. I believe Conor's best bet is to KO him within 4. The longer this goes, an extra 10 minutes of heightened state of combat, equivalent to war. If this goes to a decision, Conor will be in trouble past round 6. He gassed in 5 against Nate Diaz. I was impressed how he got a second win in the 4th, but he gassed in 5 and 3 against Nate Diaz. This will be 39 minutes. Also, the weight of the gloves, 8 ounces to 10 ounces to 8, excuse me. The average MMA weight is 4 to 6 ounces, so even 8 ounces is going to be about twice the size of the average MMA glove. Logically speaking, we all know this, science people, if you spread out the pressure, which the bigger gloves do, spreads out the pressure, covers a wider distance, wider surface, so it dilutes the power. So the smaller glove concentrates the power, so the punches will hit harder. But that doesn't just help Conor. That also helps Floyd. People are acting like it just helps Conor. It also helps Floyd. And if we're talking about who hits harder, people, they've done the sports science on this. They've clocked Conor about 850 pounds per pressure, I believe is how they say it. 850. Guess what they clock Floyd at? 820. So they're not that far apart. Again, why? Because the average boxer hits harder than the average MMA striker. People, it's just science. So, surprise, the smaller gloves is going to help both of them. And again, Conor is not going to be hitting him with anything Floyd's never felt before. However, Floyd will be hitting him with the hardest jabs and body punches that Conor has ever felt in his life. So I actually think that that advantage goes to Floyd. Now, just to give my whole pick, I am picking Floyd. I'm picking Floyd. I believe that if his head is in the game, if he's been preparing properly, not taking him lightly, if he does what he does, if he fights his normal style, he will win. However, again, the big question mark is, has Conor won the mental warfare? Has Floyd taken him lightly? Has he not been preparing? I don't think we can trust anything coming out of either camp. The footage, the press releases, the Twitter, the tweets, the Floyd Sr. saying that, oh, he's been training, but not like for a real boxer, you know. Floyd saying, oh, I'm gonna be partying every night. The movement videos from Conor and all of that. What is he doing? I don't think we can trust any of that. Floyd's notoriously been very close-knit about his footage. We don't know what he's doing, how he's preparing. I think the same thing with Conor McGregor, and I foreshadowed to what I was about to say. Even this Poly-Melanesia cat, okay? I don't think we can trust what he is. He might be a plant working for both sides to promote the fight. Remember, Polly Macaroni might actually be on Conor's payroll to have 3 talking heads promoting the fight instead of 2. Remind you, Polly Marching Band is actually covering the fight, so Polly Malaysia has just the most of an incentive to promote his own brand as anyone else. So I don't think either of us can take what Patti Mariachi has to say seriously. Okay? We can't trust anything coming out of either camp. All right. So I'm picking Floyd Mayweather Jr. Real quick, my only thing is I will be greatly disappointed if the other outcome, which is that Floyd might possibly throw the fight to make more money on a rematch. I know he says he doesn't care about his record. I do. I hope he does. I want him to get it. To break this record, dude. Just break. I said this before when he retired. I was disappointed that he wasn't going to break the record. But I would never tell somebody to go get punched in the face longer than they feel they should. But since you're coming out of retirement, go on, get this record, man. Don't throw this fight, the integrity of both sports. It would actually hurt my feelings. I'd be greatly disappointed if we had some shady stuff like that happen. If Conor beats you, have him knock you out within 4. Please don't throw the fight. And again, if Conor does last 12 rounds but loses, if people say this will be a moral victory for him, I don't think so. He can be embarrassed for 10 rounds. Floyd can beat him up for 10 rounds, and it may not be a moral victory. So I don't know how this fight's gonna go. Boring, exciting, KO, non-KO, I don't know. But I am calling it for Floyd. Money Mayweather. And let me know what you think of all of the spectacle surrounding this. Of course, your picks. Be looking out for my 15-second predictions on Twitter and Instagram, because I'll be talking about the undercards on those probably the day of the fight. So please give me your predictions. Please let me know what you feel about the entire situation, including Mr. Patti Mariachi. And follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe, like, follow me on Snapchat now. Talk to me, take care, and goodbye.